Hello and welcome to Never on the Back Foot. In today's live show, we discuss the grand showdown at the ICC Men's ODI World Cup, the finals that featured India and Australia. Now, to just give a little context to our discussion, India won 10 straight matches, to reach the final on the home soil. But we were beaten by a spirited Aussie side, who delivered across all facets of the game and, ensured that they landed up on the winning side. Now, this is Australia's sixth ODI win in men's cricket, and their invincibility just seems to get better with each passing day. And joining us for this conversation is, of course, Vijay Lokapally, sir, who is been an ardent supporter of Never in the Backfoot since day one, since our audio podcast. And now, it's a pleasure to have him on board here as well. So his coverage through the World Cup has been remarkable, and his work for Sportstar magazine literally speaks for itself. So, sir, thank you so much for joining us today on this conversation. So, so to just kickstart our discussion now, India lost the match, and it's the manner in which they lost the match that certainly is really difficult for a lot of Indian fans, journalists, experts to fathom. So, what are your first thoughts on the loss that we endured on Sunday?
Hello, Neha. Thank you very much for having me on your wonderful show. And we have done a few podcasts. They were damn good, and I remember getting good feedback. And you have been how many podcasts you have done? First, you tell the viewers.
Sir, I am at 244 right now. Yeah.
Bapre. So that's really good work. Now you talk about the match. My first thought, obviously disappointed because I thought this was the best team to win the cup. The way they progressed to the final, unbeaten, and they had almost all the, as they say, boxes ticked. Uh, but then, see, it's a ultimately you have to produce the champion stuff, which that eventful day Australia managed to do, and it was sad for the simple reason that this team had prepared very well. I mean, it was not just the tournament. They had. For the last couple of years, their eyes were set on the World Cup because it was known it was to be held in India. The conditions were very familiar, and of course, when if you see, there were a lot of chopping and changes in the run-up. But I think, say 6 months before the tournament, they had quite a settled team. They had a wonderful set of support staff where Rahul Dravid, Vikram Rathore, and Paras Vamre were in charge, and they were doing exceptional work. Well, it didn't work that particular day, and Australia was probably a deserving champion because it played the final the way it should have been.
Certainly, sir. And through our discussion as well, we look at some of the aspects that really didn't work well for India. But now, heading into this match as well, India's coming with like a 10 match winning streak that, came to a debilitating loss against Australia, right? So, do you think this whole knockout curse that Team India has had since what, almost like 10 years now is an actual matter of concern? Because when we think of South Africa, we associate the chokers tag with them. But do you think with the way India has been performing, there are chances that this tag could be associated with us as well?
Not really. See, if you're a critic of the Indian team, you can always say yes. I mean, what happens to them once they reach the knockout round? They go away. They go out in the semi-finals sometimes, and the final. Well, as far as final is concerned, when was the last final, Neha? 2015, right?
No,
When
sir.
was India's last
2015,
final?
2015 we lost in the semi-final. 2019
Yeah.
as well, we lost in the semi-finals. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So when was the last final?
So I suppose
20.
2017, the Champions Trophy, the one we lost to Pakistan.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about World Cup.
World
World Cup.
Cup. Yeah. So I think way back in 2011, the one we won.
Yeah, we won the final, right? And before
Yeah.
that, we were in the final in 2003, right? So after that, it took 20 years for you to play the final if you take away the 2011 tournament, right? So it won't be right if I say they are chokers, because semi-final, yes, you're making it. Final, you have made it. You have won a final in 2011. So here, I think, yeah, South Africa are definitely they wear the stack, because they have been a very strong team, and some of the best teams have not gone on to win the World Cup. Uh, but you look at Australia, 6 times they have won it. So there has to be something. They know how to play the knockout well. And that is what I think differentiates between uh, Australia and the rest of the world. They know how to become a champion. And India, yes, they will have to at some point address this issue that they come up to the knockout round and don't make it. That's been a grudge against Virat Kohli's team when he was leading. Dhoni, of course, delivered. Dhoni later on played under someone else's captain. So it is something they will have to look at, the mental strength. As they say, they're not mentally strong. That is one area which they will definitely need to address. And in times to come, I'm sure India will be able to pay attention to this fact that they have to learn to play the knockouts better.
Certainly, sir. And it's often this 45 minutes of bad cricket that really comes to haunt us. And perhaps this match again gives you a fair example of how that happened. Again, looking at this match, now Australia won the toss, and much against everyone's expectations, they chose to bowl first, right? So, do you think that itself was like a big setback for Team India? Because it's a psychological thing that Australia did there. Everyone was hoping that, hey, they would bat first. Any team winning would bat first. And Rohit Sharma, quite interestingly, at the toss also mentioned that batting first was what India wanted to do. So, do you think Australia doing such a different thing was actually like it took India off guard somewhere?
It was definitely different. I mean, if see, India was preparing mentally to bat first, and then they were told to bat first. So how does it make a difference on their mindset? I mean, they wanted to bat first, but the difference was that Australia had never expressed what they wanted to do. It was on the day of the final, at the toss, they told you, "Okay, okay, you bat first," which is very different. And they had their own plans, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, whatever. But they had studied each batsman. If you see the line they bowled, if you see the field placements, you see the exceptional fielding they came up with to put India under tremendous pressure right from the beginning. And well, uh, Pat Cummins. I mean, he. If you see, it was not the best, the greatest of bowling attack which Australia could have boasted of. But whatever they had, whatever strength that they had, they were able to exploit the weakness of the Indian team in every department. And I think Cummins was a fantastic leader. He led by example. In the previous games, also, if you see, known for his bowling, he batted, stayed at the crease like a test match. So when he was batting with Maxwell, if you remember, in that game. So I think leadership definitely counted. Bowlers were able to raise their game, raise their level. They knew they had to perform now. So I think it was a wonderful all-round achievement, one by Australia, and they definitely surprised you by changing their tactics. They were very happy batting second. They were not sure what kind of total they would have to chase under the lights. Of course, they say that okay, batting it becomes easy in the second half. But again, the pressure of chasing can be different. So Australia had prepared well, and I definitely, a lot of people were surprised by Pat Cummins wanting to bowl first, but ultimately Neha, they had the last laugh.
That's true, sir. And in the same line of thought, now there was so much chatter about the pitch, right? The Narendra Modi Stadium pitch, and of course the conditions as well. Now we could see how an animated Pat Cummins is, pointing at the pitch, and there was some concern, and even reports of how they'd used certain chemicals to, like dilute that whole due factor aspect as well. So, sir, do you read too much into the pitch conditions, and do you think like both the teams were just getting worked up for no reason?
Neha, pitch is the most important what should I say, area of the ground, because it dictates the course of the game, the flow of the game, and the outfield, of course. I mean, there are concerns at other places, but I don't really it caused that kind of discomfort. India has some of the best cricket grounds in the world. uh, well, the natural conditions is not in their hands. But here, I think if you see the choice of pitch, how it played, was ultimately the host. And I was talking to a few players, former cricketers, and they were all surprised by the kind of surface that India had for the final. If their view was, which also my view was, is that had they stuck to those pitches where runs were easy to come, ball was coming on nicely, and 300 plus scores were coming up, so it was challenging. Even if you had to bat well to score 300, and then also bowl well to defend those 300, because teams were threatening to chase 350, even 400 in this World Cup. So the choice of surface will always be debated. It was not ideal, I thought. It didn't suit India. It didn't suit the bowlers. Uh, and I think Australia, full credit to Travis Head, the way he batted. And Labuschagne, who was not supposed to play the World Cup, he came in as a substitute. So I think the pitch debate will always go on. And now there is, in hindsight, we can say so many things. But I can assure you that there were a lot of players. As the match was progressing, I was in touch with them, former cricketers. They were certainly surprised by the surface that India or the curator prepared for the final.
Certainly, sir. And also, looking at this aspect, now many people felt that why was Ahmedabad chosen as the venue? Because agreed, they have the biggest stadium and the capacity is there for everyone to see. But then it does not have a rich cricketing history. Say, like, you have Mumbai, Kolkata, Bengaluru. These are like better venues, higher scoring grounds, and the pitch conditions would have been favorable. So, do you agree with that line of thought?
Well, see, it is a stadium. It is a showpiece stadium of the BCCI, so you cannot fault them. And it was prepared, it was ready, keeping in mind the final. The venue was decided much in advance. It is a modern cricket stadium with all the modern facilities, which you may get at Kolkata, and Mumbai, or wherever. I mean, for this World Cup, the venues were all spruced up. India can boast of some 15 international class stadiums. And as far as Ahmedabad is concerned, you can always debate that there's lack of cricket culture, but Ahmedabad has been hosting matches for a long time. This was not the first time that they hosted a cricket match or a big cricket game. But yes, it was the final, and they expected crowds to turn up, which they did. There was massive response to the match, but I think it is easy for us to find faults after the game, but it was a good venue. You will have to give it time. After some point, you may say that people will begin to like the venue, like the pitch, like the place, and you can have a kind of a cricket culture developing in Ahmedabad. Yes, but for this match, I know there were a lot of. I also saw a lot of tweets where they said there's no cricket culture. Crowds were biased, and many people they left the stadium. Much before the match got over. It will happen because if you have passionate followers who were expecting an easy win over Australia, and what they happened to see was a defeat. So they were obviously disappointed, and Indians are like that. It's not that it has not happened in Calcutta, Neha. There have been incidents in the past at other venues also. So basically Indian fans are very passionate. They will love you, and then they will not love you. So you have to be prepared for such developments. But I think in years to come, Ahmedabad will stand out as a cricket city.
Definitely, sir. And we have a question coming in our chat box that says, what do you think? Which team was more confident body language? Like which team had the better body language in the finals? So, sir, what are your thoughts on this? Was Australia, coming in with that mindset that hey, we're going to win, and India looked a little like submissive somewhere?
Not really, Neha. I think I know Tahir. Bhai. Tahir is a friend. He's asked a very relevant question. Body language is something which you can always debate. When you win, the body language is good. When you don't win, the body language is not good. So here, I think the Indians were confident. If you see the way the game began, the way Rohit Sharma went after the bowlers, it was progressing very well. And suddenly, Australia came back into the match and put brakes on the Indian scoring rate. So then, obviously, you must have thought, what is this body language? Virat Kohli was batting well. KL Rahul struggled a bit. They were saying for so many overs, the boundaries did not come. It was not that they were not making an effort. You have to give credit to the fact that the bowlers had targeted. They were bowling to the field, and they were backed by a wonderful set of fielders. So it is, you can say, sometimes the Indians were lax in their movement, but maybe towards the last 100 runs, when they realized that it's going to be very tough, wickets were not falling, and Travis Head and Labuschagne were not really troubled. So there, I think, they kind of conveyed that they were not up to the mark, and where Tahir can say, ki, yes, their body language did not look good, the Indians especially, but Australians have always been like that, Neha. Whether they are winning or losing, they are very athletic. They are very professional, and I mean, they're mentally so strong. This mentally very, very strong. It's the history of cricket can record that, how the Australians come back from difficult situations. The only time they succumbed was in 2001, when Steve Waugh came to India, and he was surprised by Rahul Dravid and Lakshman and Tendulkar's spin, especially, and Harbhajan in great form. India won the series without Anil Kumble. So, yeah, I mean, Australians looked very good in their movement. So you can say, Tahir, that yes, when it comes to body language, they probably look more confident, and they've always looked confident.
Yes, sir. I mean, Australia in any finals certainly looks like the team, to beat. And so again, now through the World Cup, we have seen how Rohit Sharma has given India the finest possible starts, right? Because that really sets the tone for the rest of the batting to come. But then we always see this one irresponsible shot or one mistimed shot that really, ensures he is dismissed. So how would you look at his role, like through the World Cup and contexts of his performance?
He has been fantastic. I will never ever blame Rohit. It's very easy to say. We can always say now that he had got a six and a boundary in that Maxwell over. So he was trying to hit another boundary, and that's what his game is. And he had played same. His approach had been same right from the word go. At no point did Rohit try to stop himself. He never tried to cut down on his shots. You look at most of his sixes were landing in the third tier or fourth tier or the last tier of the venue, and he played with confidence right through. So it was just that, Neha. If you look at it, um, uh, same shot. If it had landed in the crowd, if he had connected well, he could not, right? So there'll be times when you will not be able to play a shot. Here it happened early in his innings. Previously in the tournament, he was able to time, he was able to get the elevation right, and he didn't have to struggle. But here, just because it happened early, he got out. Earlier also, he had got out in the 40s. It is not that. But here, maybe you would have thought he was in such a lovely form. He could have extended to it. That is what he was also looking to do. He was also looking to keep that, maintain the domination. It did not happen. Bad luck for him. A lesson learned. But I will not want Rohit Sharma to change his approach at all. He has been an exceptionally attacking batsman, great talent, a great, I would say, a mindset to play long innings. You see how he has played some very, very long innings in his career. He's one of my very, very favorite batsmen in the last 30 or years or so. And I don't want him to change his game. I will not blame him also, because if he had connected the shot, we wouldn't be talking about him.
That's true, sir. And now, even now, when we look at Rohit Sharma's captaincy, through the tournament, it's been phenomenal. I mean, the man's literally like a five-time IPL winner as well. And even the times he's played for, skipper India, he's been brilliant. Now, this question, I think by Surya also would really help. Now, he believes that one move that didn't sit well with him was how Shami was given the new ball ahead of Siraj for the first time in the final. So, sir, do you also think it was like a sign of desperation, and he really wanted to, get that wicket, enforce pressure on Australia?
Yeah, I think Surya is right. It definitely suggested a different line of thinking, and probably they thought, oh, Shami was in such great form, and maybe he should be given this new ball. But the thing is, Surya, if you look at Shami, he is good with the new ball. He's good with the semi new ball. You bring him ball is he knows how to bowl. So yes, you have a point. It did look very, very, very surprising that he didn't, instead of Siraj, uh, Shami got to bowl with the new ball. But then he has, in the past also he has done that. And but here, either do we call it desperation or do we call it a different line of thinking by the captain or the team management? Very difficult to say. After maybe once they recover, at some point they will tell us why Shami came on to bowl. But I agree with Surya that it did suggest a different line of thinking, which could be that they were not sure of defending 240.
Likely, so that could be a reason, and here's hoping we get some clarity on the same. And Sir Naman also has a question, or it's more like a comment that says, while there have been signs that the BCCI is looking to move on from Rohit Sharma in T20s, with Pandya, seeming to take the captaincy on multiple occasions, with his performances in the World Cup, he should definitely play that 2024 T20 World Cup. So, sir, what are your thoughts on this? Now, we've seen, how the squad has been announced for the five T20s versus Australia, and all the senior players have been rested. So do you somehow see like Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, KL Rahul not making the cut for that T20 World Cup, or is it too soon to judge?
Well, too soon to judge. I mean, it's only next year, right? It's only one next year. So it is up to the selectors. Do they want to use Virat, Rohit sparingly? And Pandya also. Pandya is out only because of injury. He will come back once he's ready. He'll come back and probably lead the team also. But the call will be taken by Virat and Rohit both, whether they want to continue playing T20, because there's so much of cricket happening. Whether they want to concentrate on the 2025 Champions Trophy, why not? I mean, with that form in this tournament, I think they can always look at playing the 2025 Champions Trophy. Uh, India will definitely benefit, but yeah, I see Pandya there as a captain whenever he recovers, and you have Surya Yadav, who was a complete failure in the failure because in some matches he didn't get many opportunities to kind of show his talent. He had to just come and start hitting the ball. But he is a talented batsman, we know that. But for him to be elevated as captain here seems a bit surprising because they have. I would have preferred someone like Gaikwad, Rituraj Gaikwad, to to have led the team, and he has performed in the past. So yeah, India BCCI for BCCI to move on from Rohit and Virat Kohli is a tough call. It will also depend on what the selectors have in mind, whether they have the replacements in sight. It is not that you just drop these two. Somebody will have to come and take the places, and you will have to understand that whoever comes will need some time to settle down. If you give him the task of what Rohit and Virat have been doing, it's not very easy. And I don't want fans tomorrow to say that, oh, what was the hurry to to uh, to remove these two veterans, because when they still had good cricket left in them.
Certainly, sir. And dialing the focus back to the match. Now, I think Naman also brings in this imperative point of how our batters got very conservative in the middle overs, right? We could see how dot balls were accumulating, and it was getting really difficult to watch that stagnant play. Like while Virat rotated the strike really well, we had KL Rahul at the other end who was really struggling to get it going. But contrastingly, when you looked at Australia, you had Travis Head and Manas Labuschagne, who were pretty good at taking those singles regularly, as pointed out by Naman here, and we saw eventually how they got across that finish line. So, sir, again, do you think those dot balls really costed Team India, and Virat not being able to convert to a bigger score, and KL Rahul also just getting like stuck there was a big impediment to Team India?
Yes, it was. It was the inability to get quick runs, get boundaries, especially if you see the boundaries had dried up, and both Virat and Rahul, definitely for during that period, we can say they disappointed. They didn't really push the scoring, and that particular phase, if you saw, it had an impact on the batsmen who came later. But I think Travis Head and Labuschagne, the left-right combination was always something very you can understand. It's a very significant thing in cricket where uh, you have to keep changing your line. You have to keep changing your, because one is a left-hander, one is a right-hander. So that fact is also a factor. Also, you have to keep in mind, and also the fact that Travis Head and they were both fantastic runners. I mean, they were able to. They were running so beautifully, and they could pick. They were good judge of where there was a single to be picked, and they knew what to do, and they were getting their boundaries also regularly. So everything was working for them, and India was not able to put pressure by making them struggle for the ones and twos. When you do that, especially if you see, if you deny runs to the batsman, they will get desperate, play some shots which they shouldn't be trying, and then lose their wicket. But here it wasn't to be. They backed each other, uh, both the Australian batsmen at the crease. And in case of Virat, it was surprising because generally he takes charge, and Rahul also. I mean, Rahul is India's very dependable batsman in the future. He is amazingly talented. So it was just an off bad day for India's batting and bowling. It's very easy for me to say. I mean, it was a bad day, but you can't help it. You have to give credit to Australia. If they are not, if they did not let you take those singles and keep, say, if you are taking a single of every ball, you get 6 runs per over, which was not happening. Boundaries were not coming, and then the pressure increased. So, and if you see, Virat got out to a slow ball. It wasn't a very played on, and these are all dismissal. These are all phases. I am not trying to make excuses. This was a wonderfully talented Indian team, and as everybody has been saying, it needs to be backed. It needs to be supported. True, they did not win the World Cup when they promised so much, but it's not end of the world.
Definitely, sir. And also, one point to notice how, like, through the World Cup, we've had our batting deliver. And the middle order more or less seems settled now, right? You have the likes of Shreyas Iyer, KL Rahul, who really lent a lot of stability to that middle order. So, sir, are you convinced that, at least on the ODI front, we have this, a dependable trio of like Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, and KL Rahul. And once Hardik Pandya slots himself back, and he'll be at number six, and you have Jadeja. So we're looking stable, right? We don't have to make any reactionary changes, and all seems good.
No, Neha. I mean, why do you have to make changes? There are, and where are the players? Who are the players who are going to replace them and just take away? the role which they have been playing. And one player who I'm sure will make an impact when he comes back is Rishabh Pant. I mean, his presence in the middle order will bring a lot of stability. It'll give a lot of options to the captain, and you need maybe one more player like Rishabh who can come and just take charge, and amazingly talented player. So no, I mean it's one has to understand that there are times when you get a good ball, you fall to a good catch, and so it is. I think the best they have done. Shreyas and KL Rahul will have to be there, and like you said, when Pandya comes back again, a very gifted player, so he will be there, and then you have youngsters coming up who will you will see them in this coming T20 series. You will get at least one or two players you will be able to identify for the future. And believe me, Neha, there are not ready replacements. You will have to give them time. If you want to ease out the seniors, you will have to give time to the juniors to develop.
Certainly. So that's actually a fair point. And I think we can, just treat this as an aberration, and not read into it too seriously and bring in those radical changes. So even, this question just popped up. So on the given day, do you think the Aussie bowling was just better, or were the Indian batters not able to stand up? Like, who do we give due credit to on a surface like that?
I think I will give credit to the Australian bowlers. They bowled a fantastic line. And look at Cummins, he kept bowling short. He knew the batsman's weak points, and he did not. At no point, I mean, if you see Hazelwood, he was able to command. I mean, and there are times when he goes for lots of runs. But Cummins was outstanding. There's no doubt. And Zampa, everybody says he's just a stump to stump bowler, but look at how he bowled. I mean, he bowled very well. He knew what his job was. So I will give credit to the Australian bowlers. They were not rated high, but now at the end of the tournament, you will realize that who are the bowlers who will deliver.
That's true, sir. And I think even you have spoken about this a little early on that, like the likes of Surya Kumar Yadav, he wasn't really able to apply himself through this World Cup, and there's a lot of criticism directed at him. So this question basically is, in the view of a slow pitch, would Ashwin have made a difference? Coming in that playing 11 in place of Surya, and should India have perhaps gone ahead with that change?
Oh yes, before the final, I was rooting. I'm not the captain of the team or the coach of the team, but I was rooting for Ashwin. He is an amazingly confident bowler when it comes to big matches. He has always bowled well against Australians. They never could read him well, and he should have been there. I mean, again, if you see it, if you look at the pitch, he would have been a wonderful bowler to bank on. For me, the fact is that his inputs on the field are very vital. The way he is able to, he is a very intelligent cricketer. He thinks a lot, not just for himself, for his fellow bowlers. And Ashwin should have been there. I don't know who you would have dropped, so it's Surya or Siraj or but Ashwin, yes, I would have loved to have Ashwin in the team because he is a he's a big match bowler.
Certainly, sir. In retrospect, we'd always feel, that maybe the likes of Ashwin and his presence would have definitely maybe had a different result for Team India. And Naman again asked an interesting question, which says that while everyone was writing off, the ODI format in the build-up to this World Cup, I think we saw some really fascinating moments, right? Through the World Cup, it could be Glenn Maxwell's 200, then Virat Kohli's 50th ODI century as well. So how do you see the future of ODIs? Because we see how T20s are, garnering so much space in the cricketing calendar. You have T10 leagues, franchisee cricket, and everything. So will the middle child of cricket, ODI cricket, still find its relevance going ahead?
I'm happy Naman wants to know this because see, for my generation of journalists, ODI cricket was very fascinating. We have had some great contests in 50 overs matches. and even in 60 overs matches when the World Cup used to be 60 overs a time. So I would like to know from Naman if he can ride. I mean, left to him, is he really fascinated by the T20, which looks very monotonous, which normally you know what is going to happen. 4 overs, each bowler, batsman will just come and start hitting the ball. Of course, fielding standards are have improved because of T20, but it looks very monotonous, which you cannot say for 50 overs. This World Cup has done a magnificent job of reviving people's interest in ODI cricket, and I'm sure, I hope this generation of fans, they understand that it is one format which they can. You don't have to have many ODI matches in a year. You'll have to just learn to understand that if you give a lot of it now, you look at the IPL will come. Can you remember, Neha, matches from the last IPL? No, no, but this World Cup matches, even 10 years down the line, you will remember. Yeah, because of the quality, because of the closeness of contests, and some of the, like you mentioned, like Naman has said, Maxwell's knock, Kohli's 50th, and even otherwise. I mean, if you see how Shreyas Iyer has grabbed the opportunity, how he there was a lot of criticism about him also. So ODI cricket has a future. I'm very happy that the World Cup in India has shown the world that this is not going to die down. There were a lot of people who were doubting the future of ODI cricket, future of Test cricket. Test cricket continues to be so fascinating, and ODI cricket has its own intriguing moments. We have had so many of them in this World Cup. So I think it is for this generation to ensure that this format of the game doesn't fade out.
Certainly, sir. And while I agree with you that 50 over cricket brings in its own set of, like excitement and like the strategies and everything. But if you see the last 10 overs of play, it mostly goes into that whole T20 mode, right? Like batters are slogging, there's so much runs coming on board. But do you again see the influx of like T20 cricket in ODI cricket that's taking shape? Like at least the last World Cup through this one, we've seen that pattern, right?
It will be because the players today are playing so much of T20 also, na. So it kind of, I don't know if it corrupts your game, but it does impact your game. You look at how batsmen are going for runs in the test matches also. They're so aggressive. They want to play the shots from the first ball. For a six of the first ball in a match is becoming, they expect now the opener to hit a first ball to hit a boundary or a six of the first ball. So the game's character has changed. Uh, the batsman's approach has changed, and yes, I mean, it has its own plus points, T20, but at the end of the day, it's very difficult. I mean, if you've seen one T20, then after 2 days you match another, you watch another. It looks as if you have already seen this kind of game earlier. It's so repetitive, yeah. And but that cannot be said for ODI. That cannot be said for Test cricket, where each session is intriguing. And even here, you're right when you say last 10 overs, because they know you have lasted, if you have wickets in hand, and last 10 overs you can go for runs. There have been occasions when they've 100 runs have come. There have been times when only 40 runs have come. It also depends on the quality of fielding, bowling, but but there is entertainment all the way in ODI cricket because the challenges are different. In T20, you don't look to take wicket because you want to escape punishment from the batsman, and the batsman is looking to hit every ball. I mean, it's one format, Neha, where the where you don't get, what should I say? You don't get criticized for playing a bad shot. T20, but ODI. A while ago, we were talking about the shot which Rohit Sharma played. You wouldn't have said the same in a T20 contest. You would have said, "Oh, wonderful innings," and he tried to hit another shot, another six. But ODI, you will say, "No, he should have been a little patient. So many overs to come. The innings had just begun, kind of." So that is the main difference. And ODI cricket will continue to offer, I think, probably more entertainment than T20, or as they say for this generation, IPL.
Certainly, sir. If not anything, this World Cup has certainly reiterated that faith that ODI cricket is here to stay. And let's look at Surya's comment here as well. According to him, what made this World Cup very fascinating was the variety of pitches on offer that we got to see. A flat deck turns ODIs into an extended version of T20s, and that could perhaps even bore viewers. So, sir, what do you think about it?
Well, pitches, you have to give full marks to the Indian curators. I mean, they have done a wonderful job. I don't think Surya, though there was any pitch you would say was substandard or did not measure up to standards of a World Cup game. He's absolutely right. The variety of pitches made it very fascinating, and it also makes the cricket very fascinating now, because if you are not sure of how the pitch is going to behave, uh, you will have to negotiate the bowler and then try to dominate. The bowler also will look to make an early dent and try and see if he can establish dominance on the batsman. So it is very, very interesting observation which Surya has made of, player viewers not getting bored. And but the only thing is, Surya, if curators begin to give bowlers pitches which assist the bowlers, then the broadcasters will have a problem, because they don't want the match to to end early, because then they suffer losses. So you have to balance all that. I'm not saying that the pitches are made to keep broadcasters in mind, but yes, it is one of the factors. If the team batting first is bowled out in 35, and the team batting next makes those runs in 20 overs, so you look at how the kind of revenue hit the broadcaster will get.
Certainly, sir. And on the same line of thought, I think, earlier we had spoken about the relevance of ODI formats, and that's why Naman says that he's grown up, watching a lot of ODI cricket and World Cups as well. So it is the pinnacle of cricket for him. And according to him, Test cricket remains the purest. And being a lover of pace bowling, he's never just been for, high scoring T20. So, sir, we still have, youngsters who believe that ODIs and Tests are the way to go, and T20s are just, going to be there, but that's not their favorite format.
Naman is my best friend today. If he agrees, if he has these views, which means he understands good cricket, what good cricket
Yes, sir.
is. A good battle between bat and ball, and of course, fielding standards. It is very difficult to say that a team is a bat fielding side today. There ain't any. But I'm happy that Nama makes the best. He knows the difference between good cricket and average cricket. So it'll good. It's good for cricket that they have such viewers, such fans, such followers, and more the merrier.
Right, sir. And Naman has also been on our audio podcast. He's one of the finest cricketing minds we have out there. So it's great to
Good.
see his comments.
I can
Yeah.
make out. I can make out. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir. And we have one more question. So, sir, now the role of Rahul Dravid. This has again come under the scanner. He's had a fantastic World Cup and his tenure comes to an end. So, sir, how do you see the role of Rahul Dravid like going ahead? Will they offer him an extension, or, will they look at some other options out there?
Do you have an option? He's done such a wonderful job. I mean, where do you fault him? It is. I don't think you can fault Dravid on any count. He has he has built a team based on his cricket reading, his cricket judgment, and you will have to remember that you have good contributions, tremendous contributions from Paras Mamre as a bowling coach. Before that, B. Arun was there. He had set the template, and Vikram Rathore as tremendous work he has done with the young batsman, and his ability to understand and spot a good cricketer. So I think, Jeevan, would you not want Dravid to continue? I would love, personally, if he can continue till 2025 Champions Trophy. There is no harm, and then he can have a deputy who can take over. for the next World Cup. But now, if you want, there are also things like how Dravid looks at his personal life. I mean, he's been traveling away from his family all the time. It's very demanding. It's tremendous pressure, and he has his sons growing, so he has to look at them also, their studies or their cricket and whatever. He can't be just be with the team. So ultimately, I think it will be his call. BCCI, we all know that his contract has ended. Now Lakshman will be assisting the team for some time till they take a final call whether they want Dravid to continue or whether they want someone else. So whoever comes will have, he's left a good legacy, Dravid, of of a team which is very confident, which is compact side, and he has taught them to play good cricket. So left to me personally, I would love Dravid to continue.
Certainly, sir. He's a champion player and coach as well. We've seen the kind of work he's done with the under 19 team at the NCA and now for the senior team. So, fingers crossed, see him continue. And I think Tahir also asked a question. This is a little different from our match. It says, what do you think for Babar Azam's performance in the World Cup as a captain and as a batter? Because Pakistan didn't have the most ideal World Cup and they crashed out. And we immediately saw like a slew of changes with their management going through a lot. So, sir, how would you look at Babar Azam? Like a lot of comparisons were drawn to Virat Kohli also, like through his career, but he really has something about him, right?
Oh, he is a wonderful batsman. I mean, how can you say that Babar Azam is not good? He has performed for Pakistan, and critics all over the world have acknowledged him as one of the fine batsmen in this cricket. It is just that his own, his fans, his public is very demanding in Pakistan, and the journalists are also very, they're very critical. They will realize at one point that Babar was a very calm-minded player. You can always debate whether he was a great captain or not. He was trying his best, and then you should also see that how much confidence the players have in him, how the players back him, and they have made wholesale changes in Pakistan cricket. They have a new Test captain, they have a new white ball captain, they have new bowling coaches, and they will. I mean, there are so many changes which happens. I think Neha, it is part of sport. Every World Cup, you will see these changes, whether in cricket or in football. Football also massive changes happen at the end of the World Cup if your team doesn't do well. But is Babar Azam responsible alone? Is he alone responsible for a team which failed on so many counts? So I don't think. I have liked him as a batsman. He's a very good batsman to watch, very stylish, and unfortunate that he had to lose his captaincy, but he's still there. And you watch, I'm sure he'll be good on the coming tour to Australia.
Certainly, sir. I think the burden of not being the captain would do him a world of good, and he can focus on his batting and play for the betterment of the team. So, sir, again, taking back the conversation to this match now, when you look at Manas Labuschagne, right, in this match, he played excellent second fiddle, right? Really supporting Travis Head through that entire partnership. And so here I want to bring in this question of, do you think the whole debate around strike rate is overrated? Because the kind of knock that he played was something that Australia really needed, right? So, sir, what do you think about that?
Honestly, Neha, I've never understood this strike rate business. I mean, believe me, uh, I'm old fashioned. You can see from my gray hair, and I belong to the older generation of cricket lovers, where we never gave a thought to what this strike rate is, and I don't know how it impacts. I'm not good at statistics, so you measure a batsman with his contribution in a particular game and how impactful his innings would have been. So if he wins you the match, do you really look at his strike rate? It is only you want to know when the team has done well, not done well, and you look for excuses or say, "Oh no, he's not got a good strike." What is the strike rate? I want to know. What is the strike rate? How do you calculate? There are many times where tailenders have a better strike rate than the opener. So how do you explain that? So I think this is, and coaches also, they know who is a good batsman. They don't really worry about this aspect called strike rate. And I've never been fascinated. I may be outdated, I may be wrong. You can fault me that no, this is not modern thinking, or this is what goes well with modern cricket, but it's fine. I love my batsman who delivers, who plays good cricket when it matters. Slow or good is for the coach to decide, and the result will ultimately tell you whether he's a batsman worth backing. And you can't be just looking at the strike rate.
That's true, sir. And Naman has another interesting question. Now, again, over the past 2 years, especially through the pandemic and much later into it as well, we've had almost 10 captains across formats. This is, again, the whole aspect of workload management that comes into context. And we still haven't been able to identify or groom the successor. So, sir, according to you, who can be groomed next? We still have the likes of Shreyas Iyer, KL Rahul. You also like, Ruturaj Gaikwad to be that potential successor. I think we have Sky also, coming in. So, what are your thoughts on this, sir?
They have tried out, and if you remember, Shreyas Iyer, I don't know, but Hardik Pandya definitely, KL Rahul definitely. He's in the scheme of things, and he thinks well. Gaikwad, I know, is a very good student of the game, and he can be a very good prospect. And the best would have been Rishabh Pant. I mean, if he was around, he was named vice captain before that unfortunate accident. He would have been. We missed him. We definitely missed him in this World Cup. So I can look at him as a future captain, and why not Shubham Gill, Shubman Gill? I mean, a he's a pakka candidate for future captaincy, because one, he has a secure place. He plays all the three formats, and modern modern cricketer who thinks very differently from the rest. So for me, I would love to see Gill leading India. I mean, he is the future captain.
Definitely, sir. We have a lot of options. It's just about who the management has identified and would like to groom as well. So, sir, now when we again look back at this match, India's bowling, right? Again, it did come under the scanner because you're defending a total of 240. We've seen in the World Cup how there were times when the bowlers really bowled out of the skins to defend a certain total. But in this match, do you think the total itself was so low to defend that it really got difficult, and the pitch and the conditions also kind of got unfavorable as the match progressed? So, do you think that got a little challenging somewhere?
Neha, you still had three early wickets. You had Australia under pressure. They were thinking very differently. They were under the onus was on Travis Head and Labuschagne. So it is difficult. I will not blame the bowlers. What happens, Neha, is sometimes low score can be tricky. It can be difficult because the batting team is not able to kind of plan a strategy whether to go for the runs quickly or wait for it and then wait for the loose balls. So it was a very interesting battle. One more wicket may have changed the whole uh, result of the game. It did not happen. Give credit to Head and Labuschagne. But the thing is, it was an ideal situation if we had somebody like Ashwin, because he would have bottled up one end, and he's also a good wicket taker. I mean, he's known to make breakthroughs. So this is where again I'm saying in hindsight, he should have been he would have made the difference. Definitely, he would have made the difference. And yeah, 240. After a point, I think the bowlers would have realized that it was Australia's day. They did try. It was not that they didn't give up very early. They did try, but as the body language question was there, they kind of became slowly. They allowed the game to drift and ended up losers.
Yes, sir. And now, even looking at Australia, this is their sixth World Cup title. And I read this interesting stat that Australia has won like 4 out of 6 World Cups that have been held in this century so far. And this is a kind of dominance that no other team has even come close to matching. So, sir, if we had to take like some learnings or takeaways from Australia to be this champion side? Because we have the pedigree, right? We have the players, we have the right mindset. So, sir, what can we learn from Australia going ahead and just imbibe in our culture as well?
I think Australians play the crucial moments in the crucial stages. They show their mental strength. They play professionally. Everybody knows they are great athletes. Everybody knows, but how they respond to a challenge, to pressure, is what you see. How Maxwell took away that game with Cummins at the other end. I never thought that they will. At some point, it was a question of one wicket, but it never came. So Australians are very. The resilience is known in every format. If you see, and they have a history of it, pulling off some great contests, great victories, and like I said, tactically also, there was a time when we always knew that there is an Australian way of cricket, where you all went to the Australian universities, academies to learn the aggressive brand of cricket, fearless brand of cricket, and today it is reflected. If you see, they work on a cricketer from the junior stage, and identify their players and give them the break at the right time. Mind you, Neha, if you see, Australia has six domestic teams to pick from, right? And India has what, 23, whatever, teams playing Ranji Trophy. So you see, the Australian pool is so limited if it comes to when you compare it with India. So which means they know very well that they have to be very different. They have to be more consistent than others to make an impact, and that is what has stood out for Australia. They are known to give their best. I think they challenge themselves and they come out of it.
Definitely, sir. And just a small correction there. In our domestic circuit, sir, we have 37 teams, including the likes
37.
of.
That is Northeast, we hai na.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. It's massive. It's all encompassing, including the railways as well.
Yes,
And,
yes, yes. So,
sir,
hmm.
yeah.
Sorry, yeah, go on.
Yes, sir. So, Cricket Tatashan actually has this question for you about what India needs to, get a multi-skilled number six player. I mean, Hardik Pandya is, of course, that option there, but regular injuries means India has to look at alternatives. So, he's asking whether we should look at the Vijay Hazare Trophy or IPL teams to, scout this number six, just like Bangladesh gave a minimum of one local leggy rule in the Bangladesh Premier League. So should we also incorporate something like that to find this number six and all rounder who can be a like for like replacement for Pandya?
So they are on the lookout. It is not that they are not on the lookout, but you have to get now. You have to get a number six who is capable of delivering at the big stage. And number six is a very, very responsible position. He has to be a good new ball player when it comes to test matches, because there will be times when the new ball will be new. He has to play spin very well. He must learn to carry the second half, practically second half, along with the bowlers. So his mindset will be different, and he has to be mentally again very, very strong, very consistent. He has to have the backing of the captain, who knows that okay, you're now coming at number six. I will back you the whole series. You go and play your game. So it is not that they are not trying. You will have to. Every team has a number six player. They have. But yes, I agree with him that you have to get a multi-skilled number six who can bowl also, who can definitely has to bat. But it's not easy to come by. I mean, today there are not many, because at the NCA they do train players keeping specific positions in mind, specific bowlers keeping situations in mind. So they are doing a very good job. But ultimately, Neha, you will have to find the talent who can come and deliver at the big stage and do it consistently.
Certainly,
He's
sir.
right.
And
I agree with this
yeah.
point. I mean, he has made a very, very valid point.
Right, sir. And even Naman just added on here that you still have the likes of Shivam Dubey, you have Venkatesh Iyer, Vijay Shankar around, but it's just that they've not been given that long rope. So, sir, maybe in the future, investing in all rounders like this will do India a world of good.
I think there's a couple of them are in the series now. Na? You will get to see how good they are because don't go by the IPL performance. Selectors
Hmm.
go by performance in domestic cricket, where you have a good set of bowlers.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you don't get good bowlers in IPL, but domestic cricket offers you different pitches, different set of bowlers, different situations than what you would get in a T20 game. So that is where you are groomed. Dubey promised so much. Ayer promised so much. Shankar, if we know, I mean, he was given an opportunity, he didn't really deliver. Uh, but he was a wonderful talent. There is no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But uh, uh, I don't know. I mean, it. You will probably this season, Neha, will get to know the shape of things to come because this is a very important season after the World Cup is over. The youngsters know that there are spots to be grabbed, and they will be competing hard. So I'm looking forward to the Vijay Hazare.
Definitely, sir. And as we even reach the end of our discussion, sir, where do you think Team India goes on from here? Now, this is a loss that no one was seeing, and we had everything right. It was a home World Cup, everything going our way. Yet a loss like this has certainly hurt not just the fans, but of course the players themselves. So, what do you think should be the mindset? Going ahead, do we still take each game as it comes, each series as it comes? And not delve too much into the uncontrollables or the variables that are not under our control.
I don't think Indian cricket has a lot of worries. They have some very good youngsters coming up. Like I said, this season will show you a new lot. You will get to understand that they also play cricket very differently from what we have seen. They are far more aggressive. They are more very consistent, very different. Not much to worry about. But yes, you will have to now look at the next World Cup and prepare for it, like they do it in football. You know what will happen, what the state of the game will be 4 years down the line. Your next World Cup will be in South Africa, so you will have to have batsmen who can bat on spongy wickets or who can bat on bouncy wickets, and of course, spin will always be there. So these are things for the BCCI and the team management to plan, and they have some very good people doing their job at the NCA. Lakshman is there, a fantastic cricket mind. I mean, the amount of work he does, it's not seen by everyone, but he is amazingly dedicated, and you can depend on him to give India some good players who will be good for the task you give it to them. The Champions Trophy will definitely have a very strong team. They will keep all the conditions in mind, and you have players coming up. So I don't think India will be. India has to worry about lack of talent. That is not there. It is, in fact, there will be times when you will have to worry how to pick the best four because you will have 10 good fast bowlers, 10 good batsmen. So you have to pick four good who can play at the big level. So that is the challenge. But I'm not worried about lack of talent at all.
Certainly, sir. And I think that is the fitting conclusion to our discussion as well. Here's hoping India bounces back way stronger than even we could see coming. And yeah, that does conclude our discussion. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me on this live show today, and to all our viewers as well who really amazed us with their insights. We will be doing a live show like this, I don't know, every week or so. And here's hoping we can have you all join us as well. We have an audio podcast as well on Spotify where Sir has also come on episode 80. So check that out for understand more about Sir's journey. And yeah, let's keep supporting Team India. Better times certainly await us. And yeah, so that pretty much is the end. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Nia. You've been wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks.